You don't do a whole lot of opera. And one thing occurred to me was that if you do opera, you end up being in the clutches of the opera company for
like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
In the same place.
Is that why?
Oh, dude, that's a nightmare. But seriously though, opera is a commitment. I mean, and it's the best. I mean, it really is the best art form in the entire universe. Because it combines, you know, dance and costume and makeup and drama and the best music and orchestrally. It can be absolutely magical. The sets, any kind of, and now we've got multimedia involved. Now, if you have all of those elements working in concert with one another, then it is truly like rad. But the minute one of those elements is off balance or bad, the whole thing sucks. Like if the voices are bad, if the conductor's bad, if the director is bad, if the soprano's bad, if the sets are bad, like no one remember. Well, you know, I really thought that second soprano from the right at the back was really good. No, they remember that it was some Euro trash piece of crap that had nothing to do with the music. Like my problem is when I sign up to do Madame Lidoine and Dialogues of the Carmelites, I do not expect to get there, have the convent be replaced by a brothel and me being dragged from behind while being doused in pig's blood. I do not expect that when I sign on for Madame Lidoine. None in the Carmelite order. So my colleagues are getting surprised. They're signing up for one thing and getting another. And I'm against that. I think we should know who's going to direct. I think we should know what the production is. I think we should know if we're going to be expected to perform any sexual act, real or unreal. I think we should be allowed to, say that. That's not my thing.
Now you're doing a production of The Rise and Fall of the City of Mahagoni.
I know, it's Jenny the whore. But I can tell you, I did my research. I said, who's directing? Well, it's Fuera del Spouse, which is a Spanish production outfit. And they do some stuff. I mean, they can do some pretty. But I said, I had the director of the company on the phone, and I said, listen, I'm from the north side of Fredericton. Nashwaaksis, to be specific. My parents, Sterling and Ann of Kentville, Nova Scotia, will not take too kindly to their daughter, performing questioning acts or anything compromising, or, because I'm a prude. I mean, really, I represent more than myself. I'm not an island, and because I have so many causes that I speak for and believe in, I don't want to dilute that message by, hanging from the floor suspended in some kind of sex swing while having to sing an aria, and, it's like there's no real reason for that kind of nonsense.
Now, how many directors or opera companies can you actually ask all those questions
Exactly.
to? Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. But I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be like, oh, here she comes. The one who won't do anything. That's not me either. So my responsibility is due diligence. My responsibility, in the projects that I have coming up, I either know who's conducting and know he won't put up with any nonsense, or the buck stops with him, or I know the company, I know Gérard Maltier, I know Madrid. I'm doing it, the Jenny and Mahagoni in Madrid. Madrid's the most conservative part of Spain. So I'm doing Dead Man Walking in Houston Grand. It's an opera I've already done. I know it's the same production. I will be doing Clemenza at Paris Opera and the COC and Opera Atelier. So I know all of these companies quite well. And I have no problem working for the same people. I am loyal. I am not interested in working somewhere only because it's the right thing to do professionally. I'm interested in working places where it's the right thing to do artistically. So, yeah.
I mean, on the subject of due diligence, we talked about your work in Africa.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by the fact that they didn't come looking for you. You actually ended up looking for them.
I was like, do you need me? Could I lick some envelopes and answer your phones? What are you doing over there? Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about it, because I know about it, but maybe a lot of people don't.
Well, when it came time to, I mean, there comes a time in every, I think, person of note. I mean, I'm pretty famous on the north side of Ferguson, but I wouldn't say that I'm like, whatever. Point is, when it came time to choose your charities, I mean, and I think that that's a point that everybody should get to, because let's face it, it's a pretty sweet life if we're all kind of sitting here and being able to hang out together. But I got approached to do a lot of things, and I needed to find a way to focus. And I also wanted to have something else to talk about in interviews besides myself. And I wanted to use, whatever presence in the media I had, I wanted to use that power for good instead of evil. And I wanted a music education charity, because I am very much a product of music education. It was my elementary school music teacher who told my parents to put me in lessons, so had she not been there, who knows? I would have ended up in some kind of performing capacity, but I could have just easily been in like a cage. So I'm glad I'm glad I found what I did. So I essentially I essentially figured out what was important to me. One was music education, and then I wanted an international charity, because my sister at the time was living in Kenya. She works in international development. So she's now a counselor at a federal women's prison in Nova Scotia, but at the time she was living in Africa. And I said, to Tia, my sister, I said, could you have a look around, see who's most visible, see who's providing sustainable solutions, because I was not interested in investing in the culture and disease of charity that plagues Africa at this point. So I'm interested in skill building and sustainability, as opposed to dropping rice from the sky. So she told me about an organization called the African Medical and Research Foundation, or AMREF, and that they employed, over 90% Africans, and had programs that taught skills as opposed to gave handouts. And so I saw that there was a branch in Toronto, and I said, hey, you need any help? And you don't need any help, do you need any money, or do you need both? And so I donate 10% of my income to AMREF annually, and visit their projects and try and speak about the work they do. The only concert I gave in the 2009 season was a benefit concert for AMREF at St. Andrews Presbyterian a couple weeks ago. I know you were all there, so thank you for coming out. And